Well, hello friend, and welcome to another episode of The Kingdom Within. I'm out here in these woods along a trail again. Same county, different park. Well, what matters is that I was coming along this trail and all of a sudden he told me I was going to be right here, and I'm not sure exactly how well this is going to work out because I can never tell exactly how these shades work. And tell you the truth, I'm not that good at editing video yet on lightening them up. Doesn't mean I won't be by the end of this episode. Maybe that's what he's doing with me. I have no idea. What I know is that love is the way, and there's just nothing else to be except for that. What it is that he wants from me is for me to talk on this camera. What I've learned is when I do what he asks, when I follow this Holy Spirit, well, a greater truth I get. And that greater truth is the love of my Father. And this Holy Spirit's walking me down this path. In fact, I just got done reading a book that I'm reading this morning. And there was another man that actually started walking with this Holy Spirit. He found it in meditation first and learned how to walk with it with his eyes open. And my Father taught me how to walk with it with my eyes open from the start, actually sitting still first. I was never much for meditating with my eyes closed because, well, my thoughts went everywhere, and he taught me how to calm my thoughts. But I don't have to close my eyes to do it. What he showed me was that when you meditate with eyes closed, well, then you can only meditate when you're sitting still. What happens is, well, now I can meditate while I'm walking and doing or being whatever it is I need to be for him, which allows me to have more faith in those moments when I need it. Because I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of times that I'm out in the world and I need more faith and I can't find it by sitting somewhere in a quiet place because I can't receive the Holy Spirit there and be out in the world doing what it is he wants me to do, whatever that happens to be at the time. And I'm not still sure where this is going, even though I know it all the while. And that is, I'm just teaching the love of Christ that he has given me and telling you that I've received this Holy Spirit and I walk with this voice. Well, because you can too if you choose it, but the price is high and the path is narrow, and that's what he said. What he showed me is I'm just talking about it so that those that decide they want it, they can choose it. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people in religion and faith say that you can't have this voice entirely because my Father won't talk to you because he only talked to that Jesus. But that isn't what Jesus said. And that's what he showed me was that I don't need to be listening to other people and I don't need to be listening to that whole Bible. All I need to do is listen to that Jesus because he was the light and the way. He said, if you know me, then you'll know my Father and you'll know the Holy Spirit. And so now I spend a lot of my time, the majority of it, thinking about that Jesus and what it is he wants of me and how it is I'm going to accomplish the tasks that he gives to me. Because if he gives them to me, the Holy Spirit gives them to me, and well, he gives them to me for the Father, and it doesn't matter whether I'm talking to one or the other, they're all the same. The thing is that we're all the same with him, we just don't know it because we've been given a gift so that he may give a gift to himself. And that gift is this thing that one person calls ego and another one calls the thought of Satan. I'm telling you, they're one and the same, and it doesn't matter what you call it, it still creates evil whenever you focus your life on that. Not because you yourself are being evil, but because when you're focused on selfishness, well then the world turns to evil while you're not looking. So that's what Jesus was talking about. He was talking about how it is that if all of us give more, then we'd get more for it. And because we gave more for it, we'd have more for it. But that was love and joy and forgiveness. See, that's what that is. That's non-judgment. So I'm not here judging anybody for anything. I'm only on here because my Father showed me that he wanted me to talk about this Holy Spirit and how it is that we can receive it for ourselves by when we receive it for ourselves, then we can give it to another. Not that we're going to give them the voice, but they see the way we are working and the way we're being and acting. Because friend, if you look at my past, you'll see that I'm just not worth this message. So if my Father will talk to me, he'll talk to anybody. That's just the way that is. But the choice is I have to declare myself for His purpose and not for my own. And that means I can't worry about what it is He wants me to have. I have to give Him everything and ask nothing for it. But in it, I've received this joy and this peace that just you can't get anywhere else. It only comes through love and forgiveness. And the more you get, the more you want, and the more you want, the more you'll have. And at some point in your life, you're going to make a choice, unless you don't. That's the way this works. My Father gave you free will until the end of the age. That's what He said. Yet those that don't make the choice end up with another choice, and with that choice that you thought you didn't make, you made all the while because you chose to be one thing instead of the other. Now understand, that doesn't make you wrong or right. It just makes you what you are, and that is the choices that you've made. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this Holy Spirit works. It only works in the eternal moment of now. It is for those that want to have faith in what Jesus said. Jesus said that be like the birds of the air and the lilies of the field. That do not worry about tomorrow, that today is enough trouble for its own. And you can look at it and it'll be just slightly worded different. I'm sure in each Bible it's worded different, but it's the exact same thing I just said. So what you want to do is, if you want to get to know this Jesus is, to do what He said. And if you start doing that and you figure out how, my Father will do it for you, even though He won't do it for you all along, because, well, He keeps doing it, and the more faith I get, the more He does it, and the more He does it, the more faith I have. And He's been showing me things secretly that allow me to have this peace and to really start buying into this truth. And the more I buy into it, the more it shows up in my life, and the more it's right. And it doesn't matter what other people think anymore, friend. I'm going to tell you, Jesus told you that it won't unite your house, it'll divide it, and it divided mine. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, my Father created me for a purpose, and the purpose I have is the one I serve, and the one I serve is the one He gives me. And I can't prove it's His purpose, except for that it's about love and forgiveness and about teaching other people. Well, not teaching, because I'm just talking. It's my Father that says everything for me. Because these truths aren't mine, they're the message of Christ. I'm not telling you anything that He didn't tell you already. I'm just telling you I'm here as a living example that it's working even when it's not, because I just keep coming. I won't give up, and that's what He taught me is. And He even took me to things in the world to teach me what I needed to know when I really went to do this journey, and that is to fail forward fast. The most successful people in this world, well, they just fail forward fast. It isn't that they don't fail, they just don't give up. That's the way this kingdom's found. If you believe in forgiveness, if you absolutely believe in it, then you need to start talking about it all the time, and you need to start thinking about it. Make that your primary thought. Every time you mess up and you know you did, just turn and say, Father, forgive me, for I know not what I do, here I come. And just keep doing that. Because I'll tell you what, it isn't that my Father's angry. The problem is I thought a saint was created to give you a lot of guilt and to beat you up, even though it wasn't. The problem is if we wouldn't have listened to it and we'd have listened to that Jesus, then we wouldn't have that thought of Satan beating us to death. The problem is we didn't believe what Jesus said. Instead, we believed that because He was perfect that we couldn't be like Him, and that isn't what He said. It's not about being perfect, friend. I don't claim perfection. I just claim that I keep coming. And the fruit in my life is changed. You can't get fruit from a thorn tree. Friend, I was a thorn tree, so if you look at my past, you'll see nothing worth it. But Jesus said He could change the heart of any man, and He's changed me. And therefore, it doesn't matter what I was. I kept going back into the dark, friend, because I was afraid you'd look and see the truth of who I am, and I'm up here declaring this truth of the love of Christ, and it just doesn't even make any sense. People look at me and they'll say, well, He can't be anything because He was that. But Jesus told you you can be anything. He said He came for the ones in need of a doctor. Friend, I was in need of a doctor. And every time I found that doctor, well, I just couldn't find the truth of it because I guess He wasn't ready to give it and I wasn't ready to receive it. And this is a process. The early years of your life are kind of a time to learn the truth of who you are. And when you realize you can't be what it is you wanted to be in him, well, then you'd let him be it for himself. That's the purpose of this world, so that he can know himself by experience, not us. But the only way to truly get our love is to allow us to try this out on our own. So even though it's all wrong, it's still all right, because it's what my Father had to do in order to allow us to have a choice. If we were in the Garden of Eden and there wasn't anything to choose, well then he wouldn't be getting your love by your free will. He'd be getting it because you didn't have any other choice. And if you haven't ever really thought about all those things, start thinking about it. Start thinking about the fact that Adam and Eve couldn't have given anything to each other because they had nothing to give. What they had to give was what their Father gave them. Yet because my Father hides, you can give for yourself, and when you figure out that what you're giving isn't what you want to give, and you want to give something greater, then you choose him, and then he gives more and makes you less for it. Until one day you'll say, Father, your love is so great, I don't even want mine anymore. How do I get rid of mine so I can take yours? And at that time, that's the time that you will say, of myself I am nothing. It is the Father who doeth my works. Not even the words I speak on my behalf for me, but on the Father who sent me. And then you're going to do the absolute best to live up to that statement, because the more you say it, the more true it becomes. Because when I declare that I'm not the Son of God and that I have to be afraid, well then that is what my Father gives me, because it is what I have declared with my mouth. Jesus told us, it's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you, but what comes out of your mouth. What comes out of your mouth is what you let into your mind. Friend, I've given up the news. I've given up all this hate. I've given up watching things of violence. Not because I didn't enjoy it, because I did. I used to like action hero movies. That's the God's honest truth. Because I'll tell you what, since I wasn't being a hero in my own life, I wanted to watch somebody else be a hero in theirs. But now I've turned to my Father. Well, now I'm being a hero of my life because he's being it for me, because I can't be it for myself. This love of the Father is the greatest thing you'll ever find. The more you have, the more you want. The more you want, the more you'll have. But the price is high and the path is narrow, and you have to choose it. And then what will happen is you'll choose it, and then you'll turn again. He gave you all those parables about seeds that fell on shallow soil and all that. Friend, I was shallow soil. I was rocky soil. I built my house on the sand, and the rains came and washed it away. The only thing is, I just won't quit building, and that's what's happened. Every time I get washed out, at first I'm mad and I stomp off like a little kid and I acted badly, and then I'd turn around and come back and be like, this doesn't make sense, God's love, I'm going to figure this out. Well, I just got tired of turning, because I knew in my heart that there was a higher love, and just couldn't find it because nobody was willing to tell me that I could have this in the way that I do now. And I don't expect anyone else to believe anything, but they don't really need to, because this isn't about anyone else. It's about me, and it's about my love for God, and that's all that matters. Because my love for my Father is what it is that I am, and because I am that, I am for him and he's for me. Doesn't make any sense to anybody, I'm sure, but it makes sense to me, and I'm telling you that if you do what I do, you'll find it too. And I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, because this Holy Spirit is the thought of love and forgiveness. And that thought of Satan is going to come to you and try to pretend as though it's your thought of love and forgiveness. And it's going to try to tell you that you deserve more, and therefore you should be upset when other people take what's yours, or you lose something. You should be angry. That's your thought of Satan. And if you want that, that's your thought of selfishness. If you want that one, you have to choose it. But if you don't want that one, you don't have to choose it anymore, friend. I'm the person that kept choosing the wrong thought, and my Father's given me a new one, and the only way for me to keep it is to give it away, because if I don't give it to you, he doesn't give it to me. But if I give it to you, then he gives it to me, and because I give it to you, I keep receiving it from myself. Even when I lose it, I just regain it again right quick. And that's what I've learned. See, the problem was I had a head full of things I didn't want, and I didn't know how to get rid of them, and the only thing I could use to get rid of all those thoughts I didn't want was called the Holy Spirit, which is the holy thought. Jesus told you that my Father is of spirit, and spirit has no body. Spirit is thought, and in your mind is your spirit. In your heart, it doesn't matter where it might not even exist inside of you. It doesn't matter. When you get all hung up on the way it looks, it doesn't even matter. What matters is that the Holy Spirit is a holy thought, and if you choose the holy thought because you choose the message of Jesus, if you get down with it hard and long and you start just reading it over and over again, friend, I don't read it once in a while. Sometimes I go to sleep by the commandments of Jesus that I put on that webpage. Sometimes I just fall asleep listening to those 4 books of the New Testament on Netflix. Sometimes I just do whatever, but I'm telling you, this is an intentional thing. The problem is that the thoughts I used to have weren't worth having. I spent my whole life being of lust and of things of this world and things that just weren't worth it. And even though they brought me a little pleasure, they brought me a lot of pain. And when you get one, you get the other. But if I don't choose the world and I choose what Jesus chose, then because I choose what he chose, then he chooses something different for me. And it doesn't matter whether it's Jesus, my Father, or this Holy Spirit, because one is the same as the other. And you're part of them if you choose to be, period. Yet you won't know it until you choose it for yourself, and that becomes a personal choice of what it is you want. And I'm telling you, it's not easy. And sometimes, for a minute, I think I don't want it until I turn from it for a minute, and I end up back in fear and suffering, which doesn't take but a minute now. And then I realize that what it is that I gave away, I want back, and then I go back to my Father and ask for it again, ask for forgiveness for separating from him for a minute, and he gives me those thoughts right back again. I don't know how Jesus did it exactly, except I know exactly how he did it, and that's why I'm out in the woods, not sitting at somebody's table, spending all day with folks. Instead, I'm spending all day with my Father. Yet today, I'm going to go spend a little time with my family, but, well, my life is about my Father now, and therefore, whatever his purpose is for me is the purpose I have for myself, and I can't have this thought unless I give it to him. And the more time I spend with other people that think they have a thought they want, well, then they can end up giving me a thought that I'm looking for myself. How you doing? So for me, I want this thought of love and of joy and of peace. And this thought comes from the Christ, and so that's what I choose. Hello. You bringing up the rear? Keeping them all in line? So Jesus taught me how to do this, and that's all I have to do is just keep loving. Love and forgive, love and forgive, love and forgive. There is no other purpose to anything anymore except for the purpose it has. And the purpose is for me to come to know love by experience. And because that's what I want, because that's my Father's purpose, well, then I give everything to him and he gives everything to me, and even though I have nothing, I have everything I need. And even though I have nothing, I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee and my hiking gear. But it's all his, even though it's mine. Friend, Jesus told us that my Father was going to come for the rent, so I just gave him back my loaner. I try not to have this thing as little as possible because it's his to serve for himself. And therefore, since that's where my joy's at, that's what I'm seeking to do. I'm just seeking to serve this thought of love, so that my Father can know his love through me, and therefore I've served my purpose and he's served his, and we've served it together, and therefore I don't have to be in suffering because I keep choosing something different. The problem is we don't think there's going to be a lot of joy in this, and you can't figure it out until you develop this relationship with God. And you can't just develop it in an instant, unless you can. Maybe if you hear me, you'll work at it harder than me and figure it out quicker than I did. But it took me a long period of time because I couldn't find anybody that was telling me that I was hearing from God. All they kept telling me was I was hearing a voice and I had some sort of mental illness. The problem was, because I didn't know how to discern one from the other yet, I'd hear one and think I was hearing the other. So if you want to hear this voice, you can't choose this world. You have to choose the thought of the Holy Spirit, which is love and forgiveness. If you're not willing to love and forgive, then don't you go hunting that Holy Spirit, because you'll just find that thought of Satan in its place. And it'll be selfish and self-righteous and want to give you everything and tell you how glorious you are and try to convince you all kind of stuff. Friend, I'm telling you what, this is not an easy path for me to find. And when I started down it, I scared everybody because I was scared myself. But I'm here talking to you so that you don't have to go through that. If you choose this thought of the Holy Spirit, just understand that if you're not choosing love and forgiveness, well, then you can't have it. If you have to have any more than my Father wants to give you, then you can't have it. But if you're willing to have everything my Father wants you to have, nothing more, nothing less, and you want peace, joy, and love, and you want to give other people and become a servant, well then, friend, this voice is for you. But I'm telling you, if you don't get down with that message of Jesus and understand Him to a T, if you don't let that Holy Spirit talk through Him, you'll find yourself in a bind, because that's what I found myself in. But it was right to do so, friend, because you know what it's done? It's given me a different way of seeing things, and now I see the truth of who I am. I realize I'm nothing. And Jesus said He was the least among you, and therefore meaning that He was less than anyone, because everyone else thought they were something, and He knew He was nothing. He was just the thought of my Father, and well, I've come to see the same thing, and I'm just the thought of my Father, and therefore, whatever He thinks for me, I'll think for myself. And if I choose the wrong thought for a minute, I'll just run back and say, forgive me, Father, for I know not what I do, so He can give me the right thought, and I can get right back on this track of love, peace, and joy. Because that's what I've found. I've just found this kingdom in my heart. Well, friends, this trail's getting a little busy, so I'm going to get off here. Just know that because my Father loves you, I love you, and may God bless you and yours.